Welcome back to Snippet Coder, and we are back with another video. This is our first video of our Node.js and Flutter grocery app series. In this video, we will do Node.js API setup, category API, and Flutter application setup with the home screen categories. So this is our application. You can see here we are getting all the categories here, and all these categories are coming from our API. So this is our Node.js application. You can see here this is a Swagger application. And here we have that grocery app version here coming, that description here coming, the URL for that API. Then here we have all the endpoints here. We have that categories, get all categories. Then we have that create categories. Then we have that update categories. Then here we have that get the category based on that category ID. Here we have our endpoint for delete API. So before starting the video, if you are new to our channel, subscribe to the channel by clicking on the subscribe button and click the bell icon to get notified about our latest videos. Thank you. So first of all, we will create our APIs. And here we have our folder. Inside that we will create our Node.js API, npm initialize. It will initialize the Node.js project here. It will ask for the package name. Here we will put grocery underscore app underscore API. The version, same description. Then we have the entry point, test command, git repository, keywords, author, license. And here we have to put yes, information is okay. So now here we have our package.json file. So now we have to add some packages here. First package which we are going to use is npm install express. So now we'll add 4 more packages. Here we have npm install, and the next package name is Mongos. So next one is Multer for file uploading and all. Then we will add the Swagger UI express. Then we have the NodeMon. So we have added 5 packages. First one is Express, Mongos, then we have the Multer, then we have the NodeMon, then we have that Swagger UI Express. So now we will create our folder structure here. Here we will create the folder. First folder will be config folder. Then we have to create here controllers. Then we have to create a middleware. Then we have to create here models. Then the next folder will be routes. Then we have our services. Next one will be upload. Inside the uploads folder, we have to create 2 folders. First one is the categories, and the next one is the products that will be covered later on. So all the categories images will become in this categories folder, and all the images of the products will become inside our product folder. So here we have to create the index.js file. Then we have to first create the config file for the dbconfig and all. Here we have app.config.js file. Here we have to add a content for this config file. Here we have to add constant mongo underscore db underscore config. Here we have to add the db here. This is our db part. Then we have to add here page underscore size, and the default number will be 10. By default 10 categories will be display, or you can say 10 product will be display. The pagination also we are going to cover in this series. And then here we have module.exports is equal to, and here we have to export this MongoDB config. So now our api.config.js file is ready. So now we will add the content in our index.js file. Here we have to add all this. First one is we have to add the express, then we have to add the Mongos. Then here we have to add the MongoDB config file that will be come from our app.config file. Then this one we are going to create later on, that is error.js file. That is the middleware we have to create for the errors and all. Then here we have to add our Swagger UI for the Swagger part and all. So here we have to add our MongoDB connection and all. So here we have mongos.promise, and here we have global.promise. Then here we are doing the connection part, mongos.connect. MongoDB config.db, and here we are adding the parcel for the URL parser. Then we have that unified topology true. Then here we are checking if that is success. Then we are just showing the message of database connected. In the error we are just showing the database cannot be connected. So all these series I have already covered in our starting video also. If you have not watched that Node.js basic videos in our channel, you can watch the video. I will put the link in the description. All those videos are in the detailed videos. Then here we have to add app.use express.json. So express.json function is the inbuilt middleware function, the express, and it will pass incoming request with the JSON payload. Then here we have to add app.use for our uploads folder, and we have to make it a static so that we can access all the images inside this upload folder from API link and all. Here we have static uploads. Then we have app.use for the routing and all. Here we have /API. Here we have required, and this file we will create later on, ./routes/app.routes. Then we will have app.use errors.error handler. That error handler middleware we will create later on in this video. Then we have to do the integration for our Swagger also. Here we have app.use/API-docs, and the Swagger will be accessed with this endpoint, that is API-docs. Here we have to put Swagger UI.serve Swagger UI.setup Swagger document. Here we have to put the path for the Swagger document, and that we have to create here. Then we have to start our application app.listen process.environment.port 4000 function. Here we will do the console write console.log ready to go. That means our API is ready. So what we did here, we have created the index.js file, that is the server file. That means on the basis of this file, our API will be start running. Here we are doing the connection for the MongoDB and all. Then we are just getting the parsing of that incoming request to the JSON. Then we are just making the upload folder as a static here. Then we are just assigning our routing with our this endpoint, that is /API. Then here we are just putting the middleware for the errors and all. Then here we have the Swagger integration and all. Here we are just doing the Swagger integration with the API-docs endpoint. And here we are just assigning the setup the Swagger with our this file, that is swagger.json file. Then here we are just listen to our port number 4000 for starting the server and all. So now let's move further, and here we will create our model file and all. So now we will create our model file. For that we have to go to our model folder, and here we will create new file category.model.js file. Here we will add one variable for constant mongoose is equal to require mongoose. Constant category is equal to mongoose.model. Here we will add the name of the model, that is category. Here we will add the schema here, mongoose.schema. Here we will add first one, category name. Type will be string. Then we have the required field true. Then here we will make it as a unique. That means we are making this field as a unique true. So if we put the same category name, it will throw the error. Then here we will add category description. Type will be string. Required, it will be required false. Then last one will be category image. Type will be string. Then here we will export the file. Module.exports is equal to category. So this model file will be available everywhere now because we have exported here. We just need to import this file path, then we can use this model. So now we will get the services for our category. Here we have to go to our service folder, and here we will create categories.service.js file. Here we will import our constant category is equal to required. Here we will import the file /model/category model. Here we have to create our first function, that is async function create category. Here we have the parameters, then we have the callback. These parameter and the callback we are going to use from our controller. Here we will check if not of params.category name. That means category name is not provided. Then we will throw the error here, return callback message category name required, and the second parameter as a response we will pass as empty here. And then here we will create one constant model is equal to new of category, and here we will pass all the parameters here. Model dot save dot then response. Here we will return the response which we are getting in the callback. First parameter will be null. because the message we are not passing here because we got the result here. We will just pass the second parameter response, whatever the response we are getting from the Mongoose. Then here we have the catch for the exception and all error. Here we will return callback error. So what we did here, we have created one function create category, and here we have the parameters callback, and here we are checking parameter.category name is not providing. Then we are just throwing the error here, category name is required. Then here we are creating one variable with the model, and here we are initializing with the category from our Mongoose by passing here all the parameters. Then we are just calling here model.save. Then we are checking here if data is saved, then we are just throwing the callback with the response we are getting. Then here in the catch, we are just throwing the error which we are getting here. So now we have to create the second function. So all this API we have already covered in our previous video also for that NodeJS CRUD series also. So if you have not watched that video, you can watch the video to have the basic understanding of how this NodeJS application work with our APIs and the Flutter. Here we have async function get categories. Here we have the same parameters callback. Here we have constant category name is equal to params dot category name. Here we will put the condition here, and this function is going to use for getting all the category from our database by using the pagination also, and also with that the searching part also, which we are covering by on the basis of that category name. If we provide any category name in the query string, on the basis of that category name also we get data. Here we have the condition is equal to category name. If we are getting the category name, we just pass here category name with our regular expression regex new of regex expression. Here we'll pass the category name, and options we are using here IE. So it will search our condition on the basis of the category name. If it is in our database, if it is matching, then only it will provide a result for that category. In the else condition, if there is no category name provided, then we will pass here empty condition. That means there is no condition need to be checked here. And here we will do our pagination also. Per page is equal to mat.abs function we are going to use. So basically it is a numeric expression for which the absolute value is needed. So it returns the absolute value of a number. Suppose if we have the absolute value of -5 is same as the absolute value of 5. So here we have params dot page size. So if there is no data here, then we will pick it from our MongoDB config dot page size. So this one, if we go here, you can see here we have already defined here the page size. Default page size will be 10. So on the basis of that, 10 record will be shown in our result. Then here we have the parameter for the page like page number 1, 2, 3, 4. Here also we will check mat.abs params.page. If it is no value, then we will put here 1 -1. So here we have category dot find, and here we have to pass the condition here, and here we have to pass the second parameter. This second parameter will be for fetching only selected fields from our data. So we need to show only 2 fields in our API, and those fields we have to put here category name, then we have to put here space, then we have to put a category image. These 2 fields will be displayed in our Swagger, or you can say in our API. Then here we have to put limit. Limit means per page record will be displayed here. Here we have to pass this parameter per page. Then we have the skip here. So here in the skip we have to put here per page into page number. So suppose if we have a total number of 10 records, example here, total records is equal to 20 and the page size is equal to 10. So now we are on a page 1. That means we have already shown the 10 records. So now we have to go to our next page. So in that case we have to put here per page into page number. That means it will skip those number of record which already shown here. So that's why we have to put here per page into page number. Then here we have to put 10, and this condition will be same. We will copy from here and we will paste here. So what it will do, it will return us the callback in the response. Then here in the catch, we have to get the error detail and all. So what we are doing here, we have created one function here, get categories, and here we are passing parameter, and then here we have the callback, and here we have the parameter for the category name, and on the basis of that category name, we are just checking here if we are getting the category name. Then here we are doing the regular expression to fetch only those records which are matching with this category name. And here we have the two variables. First one is for per page. That means we have to show n number of record in the one page. And here if we are not getting any value from the API, then we are just showing our default value from our MongoDB config, that is this one, 10 number of records. Then here we have the page, and here that param.page is the index number of the current page which we have to show. And here we are just doing the -1 here. Then here we are just calling here category.find, and here we are putting the condition. And here we have to show the column name which we have to pass in our output of our API, that is category name and category image we have to show. By default that category ID will become here, that's why we don't have to put any category ID over there. Then we have the limit here, we are putting here per page. Then here we have the skip feature, and here we are just putting here per page into page. Then here we have the response for getting from our MongoDB. Then here we have the catch here for handling all the error and all. So next method will be used as a get category by ID. So for that also we will just copy this code and we will paste here. Here we will change the name to get category by ID. We have to get here category ID. So here we have to remove this condition which is not required. Same for the per page and page also. Here instead of calling here find, we have to call here find by ID. Find by ID. Here we will put the category ID. And limit and skip is also not required. So here we will check if not of response, that means we are not getting any response. Then we will call here callback not found category with ID, and here we have to put our category ID. In the else condition we will call here callback. So here we have to again copy this function and we will paste here, and we will change the name to update category. Here we have to put parameters and callback, and here we have the category ID. Here we will change the function to find ID and update. Here we have to pass the category ID. Then we have all the parameters here. Then here we will put use find and modify false. So here if there is no response, then we will put here not found category with the ID, this one, and in the else condition we will call here callback, and the rest of the things are same here. So again we will copy this function for our last method, and this one we will change it to delete category. Here we have the category ID. This one we will change it to, so here we will change it by find by ID and delete, and here we will put category ID, and this one we will remove. And the same function we will put here not found category with the ID. In the else condition we will call here callback here. So now we will move further to create our controller file and all. So before moving to controller, first we have to create the middleware for uploading file and all. And here we have to go to our middleware folder, and here we will create one new file, category.upload.js file. Here we have to create one variable, constant multer is equal to require multer. Then we have constant path is equal to require path. Here we have to create one more variable, constant storage is equal to multer dot disk storage. So we have already created one series on that Node.js file uploading and all, and if you have not watched that video, you can watch the video. In that video I have already explained in detail regarding what this multer and all. Basically this multer package is used for uploading the file and all. And here we have to put destination. Here we have to tell where we have to upload the file, request file callback error will be null. And destination we have to put ./uploads/categories. So here if you can see here, we have that upload folder, then we have that categories folder. So all the images of the category will be uploaded in this folder itself. Then here we have the file name, function request file callback null date.now plus hyphen plus file dot original file name. So the file name will be in this format, date time hyphen the original file name. Then we have to do the validation and all, and here we will put file filter is equal to request file callback. Here we have constant acceptable extensions. File extension should be in .png, .jpg or .jpeg. Here we will check if not of acceptable extension includes path .xname, and here we have the xname will be extension name, file original file name. Here we will return callback new error, and the error should be only .png, .jpg and .jpeg format allowed. Here we have to check for the file size and all. File size is equal to pass int function we have to call, and we have to call here request.headers, and from the content length we have to get all that file size and all. And here we will check if file size is more than 1048576, that means 10 MB. Then we will return here this callback. Here the message we will change file size big, and from here we will call callback null and true. That means there is no issue in any file filter and all. By default we will call here true, and the error we will return here null. And here we will have upload is equal to multer. Storage we will pass this variable, storage variable, which we have created above, this one. Then we have the filter here, file filter, we will put here this one, file filter. And here we have the file size, we will put here 10.48576. From here we have module.exports is equal to upload.single category name. That means in that category name field we have to use this upload functionality and all. Then we have to create one more middleware, and here we will create errors.js file. This one we are just going to copy paste, as we have already created this file in our multiple videos and all. I will explain what we are doing here. We have created here function that is error handler, and here we are checking if the type of the error is string. Then we are just returning here status code 400, and the message we are showing here error message. And here we are checking if that the name is equal to validation error. Then we have to show here message as a error.message, because in the validation we are getting the message of the validation in our error object inside our message string, message variable. And here we are checking if that error.name is equal to unauthorized error. Then we are returning here token not valid, because this one also we are going to cover in our upcoming videos of that JWT token for the user registration and all. And by default we are just calling here status code 500, and the message we are showing here error.message. And here we are just doing the export part. So now we will create our controller file. We will go to our control folder, and here we will create categories.controller.js file. Here we have to import two files. First one is a constant categories service is equal to require // services slash category service. Then we have our constant upload is equal to require. This will come from our middleware // middleware / category .upload. Then here we have to create the first function, that is export dot create is equal to request response and next. Here we are just using our upload feature for uploading a file and all. Here we have the request response function error. Here we will check if error. Then we will move to our next middleware. In the else condition, we will start our saving the data and all, and here we have to create one variable constant path is equal to request.file is not equal to undefined. Then we will pick from request.file.path.replace backslash, then we have forward slash, then we have the backslash, then G for replacing any slash. Then in the else condition, we will make it as empty. Here we will create the model here, where model is equal to, and here we will create our variables in the object. Category name we will pick from our request.body dot category name. Then we have the category description. We will pick from the request.body dot category description. Then we have our category image, and we will check here if path is not equal to empty. Then we will put here slash plus path of the image. In the else condition, we will make it as a empty here. This path will be the name of the file here and all inside the folder. And here we will call category service dot create category, and here we have to copy this one, and here we have to call here create category. We have to pass here model file. Then we have to call back here error and results. Here we will check if error. We will return here next error. In the else condition, we will return here response.status 200.send. From the message, we will send here success, and the data we will send here results. So what we are doing here, we have created one function for export.create. Here we have the request, response and next. Then here we are just calling our upload function, and here we are checking if there is any error. We will go back to our next middleware. In the else condition, we are just picking the path of the file which we have selected. If there is no file selected, then we will make it as empty here. Here we are just creating the model here, category name, description, image path. If the image is not selected, then we will make it as empty image. Here we are calling category service dot create category. Then we are passing here model as a parameter. Then here we have the callback here and checking here if that any error, then we are just moving to our next middleware. Else we are just calling here status code 200, and we are sending the response back to the user as a message success, and the data we are just whatever the data which is coming from the MongoDB as a output of our creation of the category, that we are just passing as a data as a result here. So now we will create one more function here, and for that we have to just copy this one and we will paste here. And from here we will remove some of the code. We will remove this one and we will remove this one. So here we have to create the model for category name, and this one we have to pick from our query, from the query string. And again we have to put here page size, and that also we have to pick from our query string dot page size. Then we have the page here, request dot query dot page. Here we are just calling categories. We are passing here model, and rest of the things are same here. So what we are doing here, we are just created one model for category name, page size and the page number, and we are passing in this function for the get categories. For this function name, we have to change it to find all. We will copy this function again and we will paste here, and here we will change it to find one, and here in the model we have to just pass here category ID, and we will pick it from our parameters, that is from our endpoint API /category/ID, and this is the parameter which we have to pick here, and this value we are not required, and here we will just call here get category by ID, and rest of the things are same here. So now next one is going to be our update function, and for that we have to just copy our first function for the create one, and we will paste here. And name of the function we will change it to update. Here we just need to add one variable, that is category ID request.parameters.id, and here we have to change it to update category, and rest of the things are same here. We will copy this one again, find one, and we will paste here. So this one we will change it to delete, and this one we will change it to delete category, and here instead of putting here category ID we will put here ID. Same we have to do here also. So now our controller file is also ready. So now let's move further for the last step, and here we will just create our routing and all for handling all this API. So now we will create our route files, and there we have to put the routing and all. Here we will go to a routes folder, and here we will add app.routes.js file. Here we will import the controller file constant category controller is equal to require controller slash categories.controller. Then here we have express is equal to require express. Then we will have constant router is equal to express dot router. Then we will get the routing here, router dot post request slash category. Here we have category controller dot create function. Then we will copy this, paste here, and we have to paste 3 more times. And this one we will change it to get request. Here we will change it to find all. Then here we have that get request again slash colon ID. This one we will change it to find one. Then we have this one as a put request for the updating and all. Here also we will copy this one. Here we will change it to update. Same we will copy again and we will replace here. We will change it to delete request, and this one we will change it to delete. So here we have module dot exports is equal to router. So our routing file is also ready. So now we will move further and we will get a Swagger file for that API documentation and all. And we will go to our root path, and from here we will create a new file swagger.json. So I will just copy paste the code because I have already covered this Swagger template in my previous video also. You can watch that video, and from there you can also get the code from the GitHub also for this Swagger file. I will explain that file. Here we have that Swagger JSON file, and here we have that Swagger version, then we have the information, version, title, description, then we have the license here, then we have the host here, then we have the base path here, then we have the tags here, and we are going to have a multiple tag here. So right now we have the category tag, and in the future we have the products, orders, cart, and user also. Then we have the schemes here, and we are using a HTTPS. Then we have the consume, produce, we have that application JSON. Then we have the path here. In the path we have that API/category, and we have the get request with the tag here, category. Then summary we have having here get all categories. Then we have the parameters here, and so these parameters are for the query string and all. We have that category name. Then we have our page for our page number, and type is integer, and the category name is in the string. Then we have the page size, that is also in the integer, and default value we are putting here 10 for that page size and 1 for our page number. Then we have the response here, and we are just returning here service response. Then we have the post request here. Inside the post request we have our tags here for the category. Then we have the create category API as a summary. Then we have the parameters here, and all these parameters in our form data format. We have the category name, type string, required true. Then we have our category description. Then we have our category name, that type will be our file type. Then we are having the response here. Then we have our another endpoint, that is API/category/ID of that API, that category ID. And here we have the parameters here, and the only parameter required is category ID here. Then we have our get request for getting the category on the basis of that category ID. Then we have the put request, that would be same as a create request, that is post request for creating the category. Only difference is we are just passing here category ID. Then we have the delete here, that also tags summary response here. And here we have the definition for the models. Our model is category. Then we have our required field, that is category name and ID. Then we have the properties here, ID, category name, description, image. Then we have the service response here. So now let's run the application to see that Swagger is working or not. NodeJS. So here we are getting ready to go database connecting. So let's see in the browser. Here we will put localhost 4000/API-docs. And from here you can see here we are getting that Swagger here working fine. Here we have get all categories. If we click here, we can get here category name, page number, page size. Here we have that post request for creating the category here. Then we have the get category by ID. Then we have our put request. Then here we have the delete request. So now let's add some data to see that API is working or not. Before that, we will just click here, try it out for the get request to see that we are getting anything or not. So here we are getting some error because we have to change in the Swagger the localhost to 4000. Here inside the Swagger, we have to change the base URL to localhost 4000. So now let's reload the application again. So again, we will click here, try it out, and we will click here, execute. So here we are getting the error here, that is internal server error, category service.get category is not a function. So now let's see in the code that what the issue is. So we have to go to our categories.controller.js file. From here we have our categories service, and here we have the category get categories. And now we will go to our service to see this function exists or not. So this function exists, but we forgot to export all the functions here. Module.exports, and we have to put all the functions here. First one is a create category. We will copy, we will paste here. Then we have our get category here. We will copy here and we will paste here. And then we have our next function as a get category by ID. We will paste here. Then we have our update category. We will copy, we will paste here. Then we have our last function, that is delete category, and we will paste here. So now let's reload the application to see is it working or not. And from here we will just click on the execute again. So now we are getting a success, and data we are not getting anything because we don't have any data. So now let's add some data here. We will go to our create category API, and from here we will add the data. We will click on the try it out, and from here we will add our first category, that is biscuits, and we will paste here in the description also. Then we will select the file here. So now if I click on that execute, so here we are getting the data here. That means our data has been created successfully, and we are getting a category name, description, and here we are getting the image. Then we are getting here ID also. So now let's see in the code also, in the folder of the upload folder. Here inside the upload folder we have the category folder, and here you can see the image has been added, and this is the image which we have added here. So now we will go to the Swagger again, and from here we will click on that get all categories, and we'll click here execute. So here you can see we are getting here data. If you notice one thing here, we have only getting here ID, and we are getting a category name and category image, because in the code, I will explain you in the code what we did. If we go to our category.service, and here you can see we have just added two columns which we need to return to the API, that is category name and category image, and by default ID will be shown there. So now let's come back to the Swagger here, and let's see here if that searching is working or not. So now if I click on that test here, if I put here test, and if I click on the execute, you can see here we are not getting any data. So if I put here biscuit BI, and if I click on execute, you can see here we are getting the filter data here on the basis of that category name. And also if I change that page number to 2, and if I click on execute, we will not get any data because we only have one data, and the page size is 10 per page. It will show the 10 records, and we already have only one data. That's why it's not showing in the page number 2. So in the same way, we have that get request also, and we will just copy this ID to see that API is working or not. We will copy this ID, and we will just paste here. First we will put here invalid ID, and we will click here execute. You can see here we are getting the error here because of the type, because object ID is not found in this format. We will paste here, and we will click on execute. Now you can see here we are getting the data here, that particular data. If we change it to any other number, we are getting here not found category with the ID, this ID. That means this API is also working fine. So also we have that update request also, and that also we can do. And the last one is the delete request. We can delete the request here, that category. We will click on the try it out, and we will paste this ID here, and we will click on the execute. So now we are getting success here. So now again we will go to our get all categories, and from here we will click on the execute. You can see here we are not getting any data because we have already deleted data here. So our API is ready. So in the next video we will move further with our Flutter application, and there we will integrate this API with our Flutter application. I hope you like the video. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel, like, comment, share. I will come back soon with another awesome video. Thank you for watching the video.